And the future of free speech in Europe is in focus at the European Parliament. Lawmakers yesterday debated a new proposal called Democracy Shield, as well as a recent fine imposed on Elon Musk's social media company, X. NTD's Daniel Monahan spoke with a European attorney for analysis.
Supporters of the European Democracy Shield say the initiative aims to strengthen information integrity across Europe by countering so-called disinformation and election interference. The European Partnership for Democracy argues the information space is increasingly targeted by foreign manipulation and the growing influence of major platforms such as X. Earlier this month, the European Commission fined X around $140 million for violating the Digital Services Act. Owner Elon Musk called the penalty politically motivated and an attack on free speech. Irish Commissioner Michael McGrath, who oversees the Democracy Shield, rejected that criticism, saying the policy is designed to protect, not limit, free expression.
Far from being a tool of censorship, it actually by design protects freedom of expression within the European Union, and that is fundamentally what our democracy is about: vibrant and robust debate.
These online monopolists are all sitting in the US or China. The only way to protect our public space is to create our own European digital champions that follow our rules.
But critics in the European Parliament disagree. Cypriot lawmaker Fidias Panayotou accused the EU of attempting to censor speech online.
Our president wants to give more power to fact-checkers to moderate social media, who are nothing else than people with their own biases.
Panayotou brought up platforms run by Musk and Telegram founder Pavel Durov as models for greater speech freedom.
Things like community notes have helped to empower the citizens themselves to decide what's right and what's wrong, instead of biased fact-checkers. So please, von der Leyen, let Europeans express themselves freely, even if you don't like their opinion.
Parliament member Milan Mazurek accused the European Commission of punishing national identity and dissent.
Those people want to preserve their countries as they remember them from time they were children. They want to preserve their countries free, independent, safe, clean and beautiful. They want their countries without hordes of illegal aliens killing and raping women and children in the streets, and they want their countries without daily terrorist attacks.
Mazurek also accused EU leaders of fining Musk and X because they don't want free speech. Other lawmakers echoed similar concerns.
Donald Trump and J.D. Vance say EU is no longer a democracy. Looking at this case, I'm afraid they are right.
Democracy is not endangered by too much debate, but by censorship. The European Commission must not become an inquisition policing thoughts.
Adina Portaro, senior counsel for Alliance Defending Freedom International, says international human rights law requires any limits on free speech to be precise, necessary, and foreseeable.
Now, disinformation and information manipulation are clearly not definable concepts. And that means in practice that whoever has the power to define such concepts has the power to define whether you are a law-abiding citizen or a law-breaching citizen.
Portaro warns that EU-backed fact-checking networks will be able to say what qualifies as acceptable truth, undermining open debate.
Once such fact-checkers are financially dependent on the European Commission or the establishment, they will naturally promulgate, they will propose, they will advance the policies of the person or the institution that is funding them.
She says fact-checking regimes have already shown a pattern of error and selective enforcement.
We have repeatedly seen opinions labeled as misinformation or disinformation that later turn out to be medical truth or even very factual statements.
Portaro says deplatforming and reputational damage are swift, while redress and getting your accounts back is slow. One stated goal of the Democracy Shield is to prevent foreign election interference. But Portaro says the criteria used to identify such interference are often murky, allowing authorities to reframe domestic dissent as foreign influence. She also warns of governments repurposing security frameworks to suit their agenda, pointing to a special committee established in the European Parliament to investigate foreign interference by China and Russia.
But shortly after the creation of this special committee, the committee began having hearings on so-called anti-gender movements, publicly targeting NGOs that advocate for pro-life policies or for pro-family policies, and calling for their exclusion from civic life.
Portaro says Europe now faces a choice to either keep treating speech as a risk to mitigate and manage with bureaucratic systems, or to reaffirm a free speech culture which trusts citizens to debate, disagree, and confront ideas openly. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.